I'm Professor Fred Ogola. I'm one of the conveners of Concerned Citizens Movement with my colleague here, Joe Chege Mugachia. We are here to issue a press statement, and it starts as follows. As concerned citizens, our stance has always been no to violence and equally no to dialogue in any given matter and form regarding the Gen Z's demands. We previously stated that there is no need for dialogue on the state of the nation because the president has manual for running the government effectively. The manual comprises the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the laws of Kenya, and the government policies. However, we are deeply concerned with the latest development by the political class calling for the formation of broad-based government and holding of national convention to form a transitional government. We would like to reiterate that all these fancy names mean the same, that is dialogue. In that regard, we emphatically reject the call for dialogue in any manner and form. This is because we have had several dialogues in the past led by political class. They have been about exchange, creation, and sharing of positions rather than formulating citizens' development solutions. A broad-based government or government of national unity will be more expensive than the current coalition government or any other good government. It will just waste resources that could have been used for development, such as job creation for the youth. Job creation is the most urgent crisis to address in our nation today. We have studied the demands by the Gen Zs, and we have found that them highly legitimate, pragmatic, and realistic, and they can be realized within the current constitutional dispensation, including the call for Ruto must go. The protesters have raised questions of moral, justice, and integrity, and to attempt a political solution to it is to miss the mark. The fundamental concerns raised by the youths can only be solved by adhering to the letter and spirit of the law. On the contrary, political leaders are self-serving. The demands by politicians that requires the creation of leader of opposition, prime minister, and making opposition to join government are unconstitutional, unrealistic, non-pragmatic, and will only increase the burden of the taxpayers without being alive to the current economic situation and the demands by the Gen Zs. It cannot be that politicians are focusing on creating new positions for themselves in the government, while Gen Zs, having realized that Kenya Kwanza is overrepresented but underserved, are demanding for reduction of cost of running the government, such as compensation for MPs and civil servants, and reducing constituencies and counties. We also want to state that in Kenya, we are not short of leaders, starting with us who are addressing you now. Our political leaders have taken Kenyans for granted for far too long. In that regard, we are against the recycling and reusing, especially of those who failed in the previous administration. In the midst of every crisis lies a great opportunity, said by the great Albert Einstein. We call upon Kenyans not to waste this good opportunity which has been handed over to us by the Gen Z revolution, which is an opportunity to change the political landscape of Kenya into Kenya that all of us yearn for. Kenya is the delivery room. Let us get the baby out and put our beloved country on the route to prosperity. We remind the president and other leaders who are proposing selfish and unconstitutional intervention that we are in a crisis because they goofed, and they goofed badly. all proposals must be made within the Constitution of Kenya, laws of Kenya, and government policies. And Kenyans will reject anything contrary to what is in the Constitution of Kenya 2010, laws of Kenya, and government policy. Hakuna madaraka bila mamlaka. God bless you. God bless Kenya.
Habari zenu nyote wa Kenya wenzangu popote mlipo. Mimi naitwa Daktari Joseph Mugashia na hapa niko na mwenzangu Profesa Ogolla, Fred Ogolla. Sisi ni viongozi wa vuguvugu la Concerned Citizens Movement, ama Wakenya ambao wanahuzunishwa na yale maneno yanaendelea Kenya kulingana na uongozi wetu na uchumi wetu. Sisi tukiwa vuguvugu la Concerned Citizens, msimamo wetu umekuwa ya kwamba sisi hatutumii nguvu za kupigana, na pia sisi hatukubaliani na mjadala wa kuongea mazungumzo ya nchi kulingana na vile nchi yetu imeendeshwa vibaya na viongozi. Na sisi tunaona vile vijana ambao wanaitwa Gen Z vile wameongea na wamesema nchi yetu inaenda vibaya, hawana vita, na sisi tunaunga mkono vile ule mjadala wametoa. Wao wametoa mjadala wa maadili, wametoa mjadala wa uchumi kuwa mbaya, na wametoa pia mjadala wa uongozi mbaya wa nchi, na wangetaka haya yote yarekebishwe. Sisi tungetaka kusema ya kwamba tunakubaliana na wao, na tumesema hivyo mbeleni. Mazungumzo ya vile nchi imeendelea, ama kwa kimombo ni ile tunaita dialogue, tumeyafanya muda mrefu sisi tukiwa wa Kenya, na hatutaki kuhesabu kwa sababu kila Mkenya anajua ni mara nyingi tukiongea ile ya mwisho ikiwa ni NADCO ambayo hata haijatekelezwa. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kukaa tuongee mambo ya kukosa uadilifu, mambo ya uchumi kuharibika. Rais yuko na ile manual ama muongozo ambayo anahitaji kutumia kuongoza nchi, na huo muongozo unatumia katiba ya Kenya, unatumia sheria za Kenya, na pia miongozo ya serikali ama government policy. Rais wetu akitumia hizo ama huo muongozo ataweza kubadilisha yale mabaya ambayo Gen Zs na Wakenya wote tunauliza sasa tumechoka na lazima hayo yatengenezwe. Tumeona rais mwenyewe ametuelezea amechoka na Gen Zs na kwamba atawavunja. Sisi tungetaka kumwambia rais, tukiwa Concerned Citizens Movement, huwezi kupigana na watu wako, huwezi kupigana na nchi yako. Saa hii kile tunaona ni nchi ambayo viongozi wanapigana na wale waliwaweka katika uongozi. Hayo tungetaka kumwambia rais, tafadhali badilisha msimamo wako, badilisha mwenendo wako. Wakenya wanasema wamechoka na kuongozwa vibaya. Tafadhali tumia katiba, tumia sheria za Kenya, tumia miongozo ya serikali ama policies, na hayo mambo utaweza kufanya. La sivyo utakuwa na vita na wananchi, na kuna kitu wananchi wanasema. Tunasikia kila wakati Ruto must go, ama Ruto lazima aende. Watu wanasema Ruto lazima aende kwa sababu hutumii sheria za nchi, hutumii katiba ya nchi na hutumii miongozo ya serikali. Tukiendelea kutoka hapo, tumesikia na tumeelezewa kwamba kuna wanasiasa ambao wangetaka tutengeneze serikali ya jumla ama serikali ya ushirikiano, ndio inaitwa broad-based national government. Pia kuna wengine wamesema wangetaka tufanye serikali ya mpito, na hao wote ni viongozi. Sasa tungetaka kusema hiyo serikali ambayo inaitwa ya ushirikiano, sisi hatuitaki. Tukiwa wa Kenya hatuitaki. Tumekuwa nayo, na hata ile uko nayo Bwana Rais ni serikali ya ushirikiano. It is a coalition government. Sasa unataka kuchukua opposition, uweke wale wanakupinga, uweke kwa serikali. Kwa hivyo hii nchi haitakuwa demokrasi tena, itakuwa nchi ya chama kimoja, na hiyo katiba yetu haisemi namna hivyo. Kwa hivyo tunasema serikali hizo, serikali za mpito, transitional government, serikali ya muungano ama ushirikiano, that's a broad-based national government, sisi wa Kenya hatutaki. So hatuwezi kukaa kimya tukiona katiba ikivunjwa, na sisi wa Kenya tutakataa serikali ya mpito na serikali ya muungano. Kuongeza mzigo kwa Mkenya, na Mkenya hasa sema punda amechoka. Tulisema hivyo kwa zamani. Hizo pesa zingetumiwa kutengeneza hizo serikali, tungetaka zitumiwe kuunda nafasi za kazi, kuboresha uchumi, kuboresha afya, na pia kuboresha ukulima, ndio sababu Wakenya waweze kumaliza njaa. Kile kingine ni kwamba tumeona kwa mazungumzo yale yamekuwepo na yale yanatarajiwa, kile kinafanyika ni wanasiasa wanakutana ndio wagawane viti vya uongozi. Sisi hatukupatia serikali kazi, hatukupatia rais kazi atafutie watu kazi. Tulimpatia kazi atuongoze. Kwa hivyo wale wako kwa upinzani wakae kwa upinzani na watosheke na upinzani. Wale wako kwa serikali watuongoze. Tumekagua madai yale Gen Zs wamepatiana, na tumeona ya kwamba hayo madai yote ni halali, na pia hayo madai yote yanaweza kutekelezwa, na mwishowe yanaweza kutekelezwa katika ile katiba tuko nayo, zile sheria tuko nazo na miongozo ya serikali. Kwa hivyo tukisikia wakisema Ruto lazima aende, tunamwambia Rais Ruto, tafadhali angalia hiyo manual ya uongozi, ndio itakusaidia kuongoza nchi na kujibu na kutekeleza madai ya Gen Zs na Wakenya wengine wote. Tungetaka kusema Wakenya wote tunakubaliana na Gen Zs. Hivyo wanasema tunaona ni kweli na ni halali. Nataka kusema ya kwamba Kenya haina upungufu wa viongozi. Tukianza na sisi wenyewe tuko hapa, mimi na Profesa Ogola. Hii nchi tuko na viongozi wengi ambao tunaweza kutekeleza hiyo kazi ya uongozi. Tungetaka zile proposal zote zinakuja na zile tutatumia ni zile zinaambatana na katiba, zinaambatana na sheria zetu na zinaambatana na miongozo ya serikali ama policies za serikali. Kitu chochote kingine ambacho hakiambatani tukatae kata. Lazima tuude nchi yetu upya. Na sisi tukiwa concerned citizens na Wakenya wote tunasema hakuna madaraka bila mamlaka. There is no independence without the power to make decisions. God bless you, and God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Joe, I've heard you talking about this issue of Kenyans have got no shortage of leaders. So it means that Kenya have got a lot of leaders, but now the problem is that the leaders that are supposed to lead, or that the leaders that are leading, are the ones that are not doing what is supposed to be done. So what can you try to elaborate to maybe someone who did not get that statement correct, that Kenya has got no shortage of leaders?
Thank you very much. The reason why we say Kenya has no shortage of leaders is because we have listened to people talking. We have listened to our political leaders talking. And we are talking about the opposition leaders. We have examples, Kalonzo Musyoka, we have Honorable Raila Odinga, and many others. And what they tell us is that we want to lead you in this and that. And when we look at it, their proposals are not appropriate. Secondly, we have had citizens asking, now, if we remove these leaders, who is going to lead us? Now, that is what we are saying, that Kenyans, we are many of us who can lead this country. Remember, that seat can only be held by one person at any one time. Therefore, those of us who are not in political leadership at the top, we have subordinated ourselves to the leaders who have been elected because they have been elected by the people. But if these leaders are not serving us properly, as is happening now, we are there to take up the positions and lead the country to prosperity, lead the country to where the people want to go, using the constitution, the law, and government policies. Thank you.
Let me also answer that. When we say that there is no scarcity of leaders, we have always been told that Kenya was ahead of Singapore at independence, South Korea, Japan, the Asian tigers. So what is it that made them be there, and what is it that made them remain here? The difference is the leaders. Who led Singapore to where they are? Who led Japan to where they are? And who led South Korea to where they are? And one thing which is very simple, I was listening to Lee Kuan Yew, and he said something which is remarkable. Kenya has got very good corporate leaders. Look at the banking sector. James Mwangi has taken Equity Bank from a building society to a bank that is recognized in the whole of the continent. Yeah. Safaricom was built by Kenyans. So we have seen some great leaders who have done well in corporate sector, private sector, but they fear going into politics. So we are here as concerned citizens. And I want to tell Kenyans, the fact that you are not interested in politics doesn't mean politics will not be interested in you. Why you are having bad cost of living, why our young people have come to say they now enough is enough, it means that they have seen that the leaders there are not the right leaders. So that's one. Secondly, Lee Kuan Yew said that if good people don't join politics, bad people will join politics. So you young people listening to me, you corporate people, you professionals, who says that politics is dirty? Then dirty people join politics to play dirty politics, and then therefore our country and economy will suffer. So we are also here to encourage everybody to join concerned citizens movement. We want those good leaders who are shying away from leadership to join us. Me and Joe, we are just here to provide leadership. We have not said we want to have what, we want to have that. We are just offering leadership. And we are not enough. We need more people to join us so that we can have good leadership going forward. Because the fact that you are still seeing some people in the screen, since I was born, the headline on newspapers has been a few people. The front page of any news headlines have been a few people. It doesn't mean that the people who don't make news are great. Can you imagine now Ruto must go is the front page since the last 2 months now. Ruto must go is the front page. Ruto is the front page every day. Is Ruto the best leader? Can he beat the guys who created the Equity Bank to become what it is? The people who have been able to revolutionize the corporate sector. So our encouragement is that the leaders are there. And I want to tell our young people, don't give up, because you are the leaders. Kenyans are over 53 million. I am sure that out of the 53 million, you'll get somebody better than Ruto, you'll get somebody better than Raila, you'll get somebody better than Martha Karwas and Kalonzo's, you'll get somebody better than all those people who have stolen your money. And there are very many and well qualified. So we are asking people, why don't we have the right leaders leading the country? You cannot have your worst leading you to the best destination.
Okay, just to wrap up, I don't know who will answer this. Tomorrow we know very well that the Gen Zs are planning to have their peaceful demonstration, yes, at JKIA. Yeah. So what is your take? Okay, what is your expectation as a concerned citizens? What will happen tomorrow? Probably what Mr. Joe, what do you think will the Gen Zs will do tomorrow? Their next move.
Thank you very much. First of all, I don't talk for the Gen Zs because I'm not a Gen Z, but as a leader and as a citizen of this country, I observe and I listen to what they are saying. Now, tomorrow they have said they will occupy the JKIA and they will occupy Mombasa Road. Now, the president, on the other hand, has said he's going to crush them. My plea, or our plea as concerned citizens, first to the Gen Zs, please maintain your peaceful protest. Don your flags, take your handkerchiefs, take your phones, and open your hands and show you have nothing. Because peaceful protests are supposed to be peaceful. Now, on the side of the government, the statement by the president that he's going to crush the Gen Zs is very worrying, very, very worrying. Because when the commander-in-chief says he's going to crush people, then it means he has given the authority to the security agents to use maximum force on the protesters. Our question and our concern, first of all, our question as concerned citizens is why the president is using such harsh language, and yet he is supposed to be the figure of peace, reconciliation, and guidance. It would have been good for him to use language that guides those young people. Secondly, our concern. When he made that statement, where does that leave the security agents? It leaves them with an order to use maximum force. We almost cry when we imagine what would happen if the threat to crush Gen Zs is actually carried out. We appeal to the security agents, we appeal to the president to reconsider that statement and tell the police to use only necessary force, and if the Gen Zs are peaceful, listen to them, Mr. President, and act on their demands. They are asking for good governance. They are asking for a nation that respects human rights. They are asking for a president who is ready to listen and put the country back on the track of good leadership and governance. We hope that tomorrow everybody will be restrained and the Gen Zs will be peaceful as they have been, and the police will restrain from using maximum force. We would like to also say one thing. We are also concerned. The president has kept saying there are peaceful protesters and then there are goons. Mr. President, by now, our security agents should have accosted the goons, arrested the goons, and left the protesters to do the peaceful protest. That is what we see as Kenyans. Because the president cannot report to us that there are goons and he has all the machineries of the state and we have given him the power to protect us. Please deal with the goons and leave the peaceful protesters to continue with the protest and listen to the protesters. Thank you.
Yeah, mine is so laughable by saying that, according to me, it's very clear. The Gen Zs are doing what is constitutional, what is right. They have no choice. They can only do that. The only people with the choice is the president, the government, whether they want to be unconstitutional and illegal. Because they are illegalizing a legal constitutional right. And it's unfortunate that the goons, like my colleague says, Joe says, the goons are not being arrested, are not being abducted. But the constitutionally allowed protesters are the ones being arrested, being abducted, and being killed. What a satire. What a sarcasm. This is just actually laughable. Because in other countries, they arrest the goons, they'll abduct if they can be. Of course, no one should be abducted, but they should actually be arrested or even to be shot. But here you are shooting peaceful protesters, abducting peaceful protesters and citizens, and also shooting them. For me, the Gen Zs have no choice. They are just doing what is right. The people with a choice to make tomorrow is the government, whether they want to do illegal things or they want to break the law, because the law is very clear who is right. And for us as concerned citizens, we are in the side of the law. Anybody who is in the side of the law, we are with them. We are in the side of constitutional of Kenya 2010. Anybody against is against us. Everybody for it is for us. Thank you.